Okay, this time, in relation to what you have been exposed to in terms of the templates, the next challenge now is to look for certain specific tools or softwares that you can use to create those templates for your concept map. Now, still on building your conceptual framework. The focus of this discussion, let's consider technologies that you can apply for research. I have presented before in our RL discussion Mendeley in order for you to cite your sources clearly and also even turn it in to look at the credibility and originality of your work, your paper. And in building conceptual framework, some of the researchers also use certain technologies for them to create these models, representations. But at your level in the senior high school, well, let's focus more on creating concept map. And I'm sure most of you can do this one by using Microsoft Word, using the shapes and then arrows, lines, and so on. That's possible also. Or maybe other tools that you have been using, or maybe if you're into editing like Photoshop, why not? So you can also use this one. Now, I'd like to present to you some free online concept mapping tools that you can use. And I'll also have another discussion later using mind map to be exact. So mind map, it's an online tool that you can use for your concept mapping. It's very similar also to, what do you call this one? Maybe, I think, not Word, but similar to an interface of, I think in a Photoshop, because you have tools and then you just click and then you drag to draw. Paint, I should say. MS Paint. Very similar to MS Paint interface. Then you have Mindly. It's a phone app. And you can download what you have generated by inputting all the necessary details for your study. And most especially now, the most common, Canva. So I think editors, or if you wanted to have good presentations, PowerPoint, slide presentations, then use Canva as a free tool. I think your account also, Ateneo account, OBF account, you can create your free Canva account. Pro, I guess. So in terms of education. Now, so this is an output of Mindly. So you try to download this one, Mindly app, and then you try to input the necessary details. So this one, Rise of Nazis, what a certain topic that I have, because this is the only example that I have seen. So from this general main, and you have all the other details and how other situations can be connected. So you can see the output. This can be a concept map, and you have colors also. So make it visually appealing. So gone are the days that it's just black and white, then have lines, shapes, circles, squares, and so on. It should be visually appealing too. Then, of course, Canva, they have templates, and you can use these templates in creating your concept map. Your main conceptual framework, so that it can be understood clearly. So those who are saying that arts or integrating arts in research is not possible, you can integrate arts. You can add colors to your framework, to your concept map, to make it visually appealing and to make your readers also appreciate your work. Now, so what must be considered in creating the framework of a research study? I have presented the tools. I have presented already the definitions of conceptual framework, general ideas that you need to look at conceptual framework. So looking at this question, let's try to ponder now. So again, you go back to your research question. So I'm already synthesizing the whole discussion on conceptual framework. The type of framework will be motivated by your research question. Even though you only have 1 or 2 or 3 research questions, all of these things have underlying theories, and they must be clarified and see the connections why you have considered all these 3 questions for your study. Now, is your question driven by studying patterns and causalities? Well, you can apply now a theoretical framework. Or is it focused on identifying connections between core concepts? Then you can also look at conceptual framework. This is another way of viewing the differences between theoretical and conceptual framework. If your intention is looking for patterns, causalities, and so on, that's the time you can use the theoretical framework or more of the theories. And if it's more of drawing connections between concepts, then a conceptual framework may do. Now, with that, just a takeaway. So when everything has been said and done, whether you work on the framework toward the beginning or at the end of the research process, you will have to continually think through the relationships of your concepts. On a personal level, now, how I will view your concept map, your conceptual framework output, I'm looking at it as a tentative output. Why? Because as you implement your study later on, second semester, there are opportunities, I would say opportunities, for you to improve your conceptual framework. Whatever you have established in your conceptual framework, it can still be reviewed, or I mean, it can still be improved, not reviewed. It can be improved. And uh, there are opportunities that can happen in your implementation, your experimentation, that might be beyond your control, and that already affected now the result of your study and even how you will be analyzing it, even though you have conceptualized it that this should be the analysis, but it might not be fitting to your data. So you can improve your conceptual framework along the way, even though you have established it already. That's how I do things. I have my own conceptual framework initially, but at some point, if I'm writing now the whole paper at the end, you can revise and reframe, because the goal of the conceptual framework is to represent the totality of your study, how it happened, how you were able to conceptualize, how you were able to analyze the data, and so on. That should be present in your conceptual framework. So it's okay that your conceptual framework is just tentative. And I'm expecting that as you write your final paper for the year, come second semester, then you need to refine your conceptual framework.